Um, my first thing I wanted to talk about was a couple of rules as to how I am going to progress, or I guess use in the game. So the first thing that I decided was anything that's technically a minion, a non-boss figure, will be will have 1 HP for the sake of moving things along. If it's important to the story, um, it'll be covered as a more um, thicker enemy with more HP and things like that. But I do know that sometimes folks don't like that. However, to make the playthrough run smoother and a little faster, I will be giving 1 HP to minion mobs, just basic generic small mobs. Um, Anytime there's a boss fight or something that's pivotal to the story, we will be using the actual stats, the legacy stats, until the new monster manual comes out in February. So that's just something that I wanted to cover up front. Another one is potions. I think I covered this in a past video, but just wanted to make sure that it was understood. Potions I will give, they'll take a full action from me, but they will take the full effect. So that it'll just be a full heal rather than a partial heal or things like that. Unfortunately for me, I didn't roll a cleric or some type of healer when I randomly rolled these two characters, which I knew would be a part of it. It's possible maybe we can hire one as the game progresses if that presents an opportunity. As of right now, I don't have that, so it's going to have to be extra careful in play um, with how we proceed without a healer, and probably two more flimsy classes, if that. So, um, let's see. So we covered the potions, we covered the minions, we covered the bosses. Everything will be randomly generated between using my Excel that I've created, which I covered in my video prior to this one, as well as I will be using some descriptor and focus, as well as action and theme tables. I'm actually borrowing these out of the Ironsworn Starforged book. So I think that that would be beneficial, and we'll be using those if I need them. I have an Excel that helps generate those, but we just have those to the side just in the event that we need those. So, um, a little bit of background as to what's occurring before we jump right into play. We have Valzen Dusk, who is a warlock who we created. Valzen is currently a noble affiliated with a house we haven't discovered yet in the Underdark, as well as Valzen also is working for a league. We call it I rolled it just now. It's the League of Ardent Death. So the League of Ardent Death is a group that Valzen is working with, led by Bayana Kanud. So Bayana Kanud, the leader of the League of Ardent Death. Valzen is a member of that group, and they are basically outcasts to those within the Drow houses and the Drow just all around. All the Loathsworn worshippers don't really appreciate the League of Ardent Death. They have a different view of things that go against the flow of what the standard Drow want. And how Valzen came to be with the League of Ardent Death, we don't know yet. We'll find this out as the story plays out, as well as what will occur with the League of Ardent Death in relation to the houses. Generically, I rolled that we know that the League of Ardent Death again has something against the Drow houses and the standard way of Drow living, Lolth worship. They don't like it. They want to do something against the Lolth worship. But as of right now, they haven't had any violent means to change anything from the status quo. Valzen is a member of the council that kind of operates within the houses. He's a noble, but he's also in the league, so he's very conflicted with how he feels. It's kind of like he has two faces going on right now. and he's diving between two worlds. The League is definitely being a world that he's trying to hide, while the Council is his way to, I guess, live, support his family, and things like that. Valzen has a wife named Mythara. Mythara has two children, and Valzen plans to protect his family with all he has. I mean, he first off is very selfish by nature. Secondly, though, is his family. So first is himself, his power, and trying to sate that, followed by the love for his family. Firstly, his wife, followed then to his children. I did think about how he would interact with his son versus the daughter, and I'm thinking that he's going to favor the daughter more than the son. The Drow are a more matriarchal society, so the matriarchs are what carry more than the patriarchy for the Drow. So I'm thinking that his alignment with his daughter is going to be much stronger than his son. And his son is, he always calls him like a crybaby. That just kind of came to mind to me. It's always just kind of call him a crybaby. Doesn't really appreciate him. Things like that. So we have Valzen living a double life. Valzen trying to hide that affiliation with the League, while living as a noble, taking care of his family, or attempting to take care of his family. His family, I think, live fairly well, but we'll find out more about that as the game progresses as well. And then lastly, let's see here. So we covered that. We covered the council. We covered the League. We covered his wife. We covered his family. We are starting the game where Valzen is currently in the mists of being sent on a quest for the League. He was sent to grab a scroll in the middle of a dungeon. I don't know the dungeon name off the top of my head. However, he went to go grab a scroll as ordered by Bayana. She told Valzen, once you find the scroll, get it, do not read it, bring it back, and we'll go from there. The scenario that we're going to start this whole thing with is Valzen in the room where the scroll is, and Valzen appears to be conflicted, as well as he's in a hurry to get out of there because where he was extremely dangerous, especially being alone with no help. It could have very well been a suicide mission, but Valzen just follows orders, and plus he's so egotistical and thinks he's just the greatest that he could do this by himself. He doesn't need help. But he clearly does. And we may find that out later. So anyway, we're going to start with that. So what I have here is we have Valzen's character sheet over to the left and the dungeon over to the right. So what I'm going to be using is a map. So the map I got randomly created out of Donjon, and this calls it the Prison of Secrets. I don't really care. So I put this into Roll20. I do plan on making things physical in the future, so that we can because I like physical dice. I like the table. I just don't have a table and things like that yet. So for now, we're going to use tech to help us and keep things simple. And then in the future, we will alter as we need to from there. So anyway, I just wanted to show this is what I generated here. We're not going to even follow all this stuff here. We are literally going to generate these as we go room by room. However, Valzen already has gone through some of this. So here's our Roll20 here that we have. Just let me get up my character sheet for Valzen. There we go. So we have Valzen here in the middle of this dungeon, and he approaches what he believes to be a scroll. The scroll is placed on an altar, and it's glowing and almost floating off the altar. And Valzen sees it, and he's just the first feeling he gets is a feeling of, we're gonna actually roll right now and find out what he feels when he looks at this. Down here, so we need a D100. Let's get D100. Okay, and we're gonna get this off the focus table. So a 46. He feels a sense of intelligence come off of this scroll that's, sorry, I forgot what it was. This scroll on the altar. So he gets a sense of intelligence off the scroll on the altar, and it just hits him. And he just wants to absorb it and wants to feel it. And part of him wants to open it, but he knows he was told by Bayana, do not open this scroll. And so he's developed with a conflict of if he does or not. Looking around him and knowing that he's acquired what he needed to get, he knows that he needs to get out of here pronto. So his first thought is to grab the scroll, gently put it in his side, and now we're gonna look and see, does he actually, is what he has, was that trapped? Was that altar trapped? I'm curious if when he pulled it off, something occurred. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna find out if something occurred here via our Excel tool. So let's look and see. How likely is it that it was trapped? I think it's equal chances that it was. So equal chances, if we roll above 6, it was not trapped, and it was not trapped. So we know that it wasn't trapped, which is good. So Valzen takes that and puts that aside. As Valzen puts that into his knapsack that he's kind of holding beside him, he hears a voice kind of call out to him. And Valzen turns around. And the voice says to him, Valzen! What are you doing here? And he looks over himself and he notices that it's a fellow drow. He believes it to be someone of the council, maybe a lower stature person that he doesn't quite recognize. And he says, mind your business. Are you following me? What means do you have here? And the following drow says, I was sent to spy on you. The council believes you to be doing things with the League, and clearly, you have no other reason to be here. Valzen ponders for a moment. I'm sure right now he's thinking, what can I do? He's trying to separate both, and he knows that his very well-being as well as his family's could be on the line. Valzen's first thought is to try and lie. So let's see if he can deceive this person. So we're going to go ahead and roll a deception check. Alright. So we're going to go ahead and roll that deception check. 2, 7. He tells this person, I've just come here to research for the council. I'm trying to find scribes that we could put into the library. We need some other powers. We've had forces from the above ground coming down lately. We need some help culling that problem. They're causing a nuisance. The follower doesn't quite believe at all. He's not buying the story. And he says, you were told you are a liar, Valzen. You will come with me, you will confess your crimes to the council, and at once we will discuss with the council what is going on here. Now, Valzen has very little tolerance, very little patience for something like this, for sure. Um, Valzen is thinking, I need to kill him. But what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? What am I going to do with his body? But he at this point doesn't care. He needs to take care of this right away. So what Valzen is going to do is he's gonna dispatch this guy. I mean, he's just going to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start a battle. So I'm going to pop a creature token up right here. Alright. And it just says creature token. How awesome is that? Now this is going to be a drow right here as well. Okay. So now we're going to pull up drow. We have the drow here. I'm not going to make this drow as strong as the standard drow. We're going to reduce it a little bit. Probably we're going to cut its hit points in half. So instead of 13, we're going to cut its hit points to 6. I'll make its AC instead of 15, 12. And we'll leave everything else the same. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to roll initiative. Alright, so Valzen gets an 11. And what is this folks' initiative here? Do I have one? I don't see it even here. Okay, we're gonna see if it rolls below him. Okay, so we're gonna say that that drow rolls below him. Valzen looks over and says, "I'm sorry, friend. I don't quite know who you are, but you cannot be allowed to leave here. I must deal with you and move on." Valzen's hands start to glow. He has this like purple aura around him as he shoots his Eldritch Blast straight at this drow. Alright, so we said the AC was 12, the 13 hits. I'm gonna go ahead and roll that d10 and hits for 10 damage. We said he only had 6 HP because we cut it in half. What did he originally have? He originally had how much HP? 13. The drow lays bloodied on the floor as he looks at Valzen and says, "Your crimes will not go unpunished, Valzen." Valzen looks and smirks. As he does, I'm curious, so Valzen's patron desires the chaoticness of Valzen's patron wants blood. His patron is not a patron, just completely chaotically evil. So what is the likelihood the patron comes and shows up? The patron does not show up. So Valzen now needs to figure out what he's going to do with this body. So what could Valzen do with this body? We're looking at an action theme prompt. Help the environment, harm hope, inquire magic. Valzen searches his body to see if there's anything on him that could help him to see if there's anything on this drow that could help him to ascertain who sent him to follow him. I'm going to say that it's very likely that he would find something on them, but he doesn't. So he's searching this person and he does not find anything on them. Okay. So is there any type of insignia on this person that may help? There's no identification, there's nothing that sends. Is there any type of insignia on him? Yes, there is an insignia on him. Okay. And what is the insignia? What is the insignia of? Something to do with inform riches. So we're going to say that this insignia has something to do with riches. Maybe one of the rich houses. Maybe the richest drow house, the most successful, was sent. He was sent from. Okay. So now we need to decide what we're going to do from here. I don't think anybody's going to come back and check for the body in the middle of this dungeon, so we're not too concerned about that. We are going to figure out what we're going to have to say and what we're going to have to do to get rid of the evidence, or what kind of excuse we're going to have to make up to what happened to him. So now what we're going to do is we need to get out of here. So what we're going to do is we are going to make our way out. So the way out of this dungeon is going to be up over here. So we are going to have to make our way all the way over there. Being that Valzen has already tracked his way in, I'm not going to check to see if doors are locked. We are going to assume that all doors are unlocked, because he's either unlocked them. We will see if there's any traps that Valzen may not have secured, or any encounters that may occur as he goes throughout the rooms here. So first thing we're going to do now is go into our next room. Okay, so as we enter this room here, let's see what we have. Let's see here. What occurs in this room? So it looks like nothing occurs in this room. The room contents are empty. So we are good for this room. So now we're going to go to the next room, making our way out of here. Okay, and we get into a corridor. Oh, my mistake, it was a creature encounter, but I read that wrong, so we'll just go ahead and go with that for now. Alright, so in a corridor, we find a clue. So we're going to go ahead and write this clue down. And what could the clue be? Something about guided trust. We're going to hold on to that we may be able to use for later as the story progresses. Okay, so now we are going to go ahead and go to the next room. Let's see here. He makes his way up and into that room here. And what happens in this room? We find another clue in this room. And this one has to do with loss. Perhaps a clue as to something that will occur with loss in the future. We'll hold on to that as well. Alright, going up to our next room. Valzen's making his way, trying to get out of here. Feeling a little bit of the pressure, he continues on. He finds a treasure protected by a trap. Resolve the trap and see if you get the treasure. So, what is the trap that is here? So first thing we need to do is see if we see the trap. Would Valzen have perceived this trap? Let's go ahead and go to his character sheet. Let's see. $11. He does not perceive the trap on the treasure. Not at all. So what we're going to have to do now is, which kind of stinks, let's find out what happens with this trap. Spears. Sharp spears slide from the wall, stabbing any character who fails to pass a dex test. They are targeted by d6 attacks that deal 2 damage each. 2 damage each. Alright, so what we're going to say, they just deal 2 d6 damage. Alright, so let's roll a dex save and see what we get. Dexterity. He is not very dexterous. Oh, man. Okay, so he is getting hit by something. Let's see. Let's roll a d6 here and see what he gets. Where is... There's a dice. And he takes 4 damage. Oof. Okay. Not even out of the... out of the dungeon yet in the first room. He takes damage as he was guarded by that trap. But does he acquire the trap? Yes, he does. Excuse me, does he acquire the treasure? He does acquire that treasure. And what is the treasure? So the treasure is just going to be a random average treasure that we will roll at the end. So an average treasure. We'll roll out of the DMG, Dungeons Master's Guide. Alright, he's going to go on to that next room. See what we have there. Okay, let's see what we got. In this room we have a creature encounter. So first we have to determine what CR we want this creature to be. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to roll a d4. So we're only going to go up to CR, actually to CR 1/2 because of his level being level 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go ahead and roll a d4. I'll actually do it here. And it was a 4. Actually, I don't want a CR1, so we'll divide that in half by 2. So a CR 1/4. And how many creatures is it? It's going to be 1. And it's a swarm of bats. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we need to pull up a swarm of bats. Stats. And see what it is. Swarm. Of bats. Okay. So we encounter a swarm of bats. Armor class 12. Hit points 22. Ooh, we are in trouble. We may die. For the sake of him being alone, we're gonna cut this in those hit points in half to 12. And that AC we're gonna make 10. Now I normally wouldn't fudge these, but he's by himself. Alrighty then. So we have an AC of 10, HP of 12. Valzen will get to go first. Alright, let's see what we got here. Valzen's hands again lights up. And he looks at these bats. And he goes to just hit them with Eldritch Blast. Hoping for higher than a 10. We get an 18, which is excellent. And he hits for 2 damage, which brings them down to 10. Alright, so the bats are up. We have the bats. They will bite. Since they normally have a +4 and I've cut everything in half, I'm gonna make that a +2. Well, hold up. I did say that we were going to make minions only have 1 HP for the sake of keeping things simple. It still will be deadly for him, but it does help us. So being that he hit them for 2, these bats are now gone, and the bats have been defeated. So Valzen makes his way, swiftly shrugs his shoulders off, looks forward, and gets ready for some more. He comes to a crossroads where he sees a fork, and he's trying to remember. Does he remember? Here's a question. Would he remember where he was going? I think it would be pretty likely that he would remember where he's going, but let's see. I think it's going to be like almost certain he knows where he's going. And yes, he does know where he's going. So that's good. So we're going to go ahead and go back. To our map. And make our way up toward this exit. Okay. So what happens now in this room? We get another clue. Something about history. This one I think I want to use now. The clue of history. What about the history? What is the history of this scroll? Is it possible that Valzen could do an Arcana check and find out a little bit more about this scroll that he was sent for, or that the clue that we have here would tell us? No. Okay. No chance that we could even make a check to see. So this clue is going to be basically null and void. What we were hoping for is some kind of clue that will let us know something about the scroll we just pocketed. Not there. So we are going to proceed on. Moving on to our next room. Ooh, and just realized we're going the wrong way. We are going to have to turn around here, but we're going to still have to roll for that room. And that was my fault. We can say that in his hurry to get out, he just gets lost. What's in this room? It's empty. Awesome. That will help us out significantly. So, okay. We're going to go back and turn around. Okay. Let's see if we have any wandering creatures in this room that we may have to engage again. No, we do not. Excellent. Alright. Alright, back to the next room. And do we have any wandering creatures here? We do. And what are they? It's a Kruthic. Kruthic Young is who we are now fighting. Kruthic Young. So let's go ahead and find out what that is. Okay. Let's see. K-R-U-T-H. Okay. Kruthic. And it says this is, okay, here we go. Kruthic Young. Okay, 9 HP, but this is just a minion. How many of them, though, are there? That's the question. 1, okay? So there's only 1, which is great. Valzen, let's roll for initiative. He rolls a 2. We're going to let this creature go ahead and roll theirs. And add 1. So they got a 6. They get to go first. Alright. So the Kruthic has a +5 to hit. And does 1d4 +3. So let's see. So we have to do a +5. 7 plus 5 is 12. That definitely hits Valzen. 1d4 plus 3. 2, 3 is 5. Hits him for 5. Okay. He's at 1 hit point. He's in trouble. He's hurting. He is more than bloodied at this point. That Kruthic just hit him really hard. Alright, so now we're going to see if he gets to manage to hit this creature. And he does. Got those hands glowing again, takes that Eldritch Blast ready and just aims it at this Kruthic. Creature's gone. Excellent. Let's see, does he have a healing potion on him? Equipment, backpack. He does not. Okay, he's at 1 hit point. We need to be really, really careful as we go about. Alright, so we were coming here. And let's see, do we have an encounter in here? We do not. Good. Here's hoping the Lady Luck's on our side. Alright, so this is a corridor. I'll roll for a corridor encounter. Let's see what happens. The corridor is empty. Excellent. Comes up to this next room. Perhaps what could be in this room? Says another clue. Something about a faction. Maybe the person who followed me dropped something, and we could find out what it is that they dropped. Is that possible? Let's see here. Let's find out. Okay. I'm gonna say again, it's probably unlikely. Oh, well, they did. They did drop something. What did they drop that could help identify them? Abandoned conspiracy. They dropped a clue about a conspiracy. Perhaps they believe Valzen is involved in a conspiracy to overthrow the rich house. So this clue lets Valzen know that there was a conspiracy to overthrow the rich house. What that name of that house is, we don't know. Is it possible that Valzen would know who the leader of that is? Yes, Valzen does know who the leader of. Valzen does know the leader of the rich house. Okay. Let's generate a name of who that could be. Alright. Let's get a draw name, huh? And it's gonna be Zarin. Zarin, S-X-A-R-A-N. And we're gonna name him Zarin Kolarn of House Kolarn. So he sent that spy. He sent a spy. After Valzen. Thinking Valzen is conspiring against his house. Okay, excellent. So now we have a name. We have somebody that we know is kind of gunning it for Valzen, which is Zarin Kolarn of House Kolarn. Excellent. All right, we're gonna go ahead and head into the next room. Which is great. Okay, let's see if we have an encounter here. Nope, empty again, which is good. Because Valzen right now can't afford it. He can't afford to be hurt. He's hanging on to his little bit of life left. Alright. So now we're in this corridor. Let's see, do we have anything that occurs in the corridor? No, so I rolled a secret door, but being we know the contents of this dungeon, it's not going to be a secret door here today. Alright, next room. Okay, what do we have in here? An NPC. We come into contact with an NPC. We rolled. Here, let me share the screen. All right. So we find out that we have it's one lone Quaggoth who is a minor. Starting attitude is hostile. It's a male, middle-aged, educated. I don't know if a Quaggoth could be educated, but that's okay. The motivation is to manage his patience, and he is looking to. Perhaps he's here looking to find some minerals. Valzen is cautious at this point. He's extremely hurt. Drow do use Quaggoths to help them, and typically, sometimes they enslave them. It says he's hostile, but is it likely that he wants to fight, or more than likely that he just wants to kind of go about his way? So does this Quaggoth feel like fighting? His attitude is hostile, but is he actually hostile toward me? I'm gonna say equal chances that he is hostile. So above 6 he is hostile. Okay, he is not hostile toward me. Great, that's what we want. So this Quaggoth is not hostile. He's just here to mine. I need to get out. I really don't care about him. I don't desire to interact with him. I look over and I say, "Dear sir, I do see you're not in the best of moods. However, I just need to get out of here. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to run into you. Is there anything you need help with?" And the Quaggoth, is the Quaggoth likely to answer me? I'm going to say that it's likely that the Quaggoth might answer me. Yeah, it does. And an unexpected takes place at a very good or bad moment. Okay, since we're in control and things are looking good, the unexpected event is very good. The Quaggoth just kind of looks and says, "Yes, I'm looking for minerals and I need to help my people." Valzen looks over and says, "You may find some more deeper into the crypt. I must run. I do apologize." And he kind of bows and curtsies himself, and keeps the scrolls hidden away in his satchel. The Quaggoth has no desire. Would the Quaggoth have a desire? Does the Quaggoth even notice the scroll? I think it's unlikely. Let's see. Okay, yeah, the Quaggoth did not notice the scroll, so he has no intent of looking at that or interfering with Valzen's quest. So we're going to go ahead and move on here. Alright. We enter this corridor and make our way around. We're going to roll lastly for this corridor effect. Okay. So it comes to the end of the corridor. What occurs in the corridor? Treasure roll. Roll on the standard treasure table. So while running through the corridor, trying to get out, he notices something, perhaps that catches his eye. and grabs it. We will roll on the treasure table to see what that treasure is later. Okay. Valzen gets out of the cavern at this point, or this little dungeon, wherever he is at the moment. We're not sure yet. And makes his way out. As he turns around, what are we actually looking at? I'm curious. What are we looking at here? So let's roll our 2d10s and figure out what are we looking at. We are looking at a depleted being. So where Valzen ran into what now appears to be maybe like a large being. So he actually went where he was inside was a living being. Perhaps very large. And a scroll was inside this living being. Is this the living being, as he looks at the living being, does the living being look like it's better used for wear or not? I'm gonna say that it's likely that the being doesn't look like it's very healthy. Like it looks like it's on the decaying end. So if we roll above a 6, we're gonna say that that our assumption is right. Okay, so 6. So yes, the laying there is a large. We went into a living being. They are decaying. Perhaps it has to do with necromantic type magic, perhaps. Again, I think it's an equal chance of 50-50. 3, no. It's not necrotic magic. That's whatever this living being that I ran into was. It's not. Okay. Could we perhaps figure it out? I don't think it's likely. We'll make that even lower, so we'll say that's like a 4 of 10 being unlikely. So we rolled above. I wanted 4 or less for us to get it. So no, we can't figure out what type of magic this is. It's foreign to us for now. Okay, so Bayana sent us to a living being. We went inside the living being, or perhaps unliving at this point. Got the scroll, came out. The scroll seems to be... What effect does this scroll have? Any effect on Valzen? We know it when the minute he grabbed it. We mentioned earlier that it impacted his intelligence, and we noticed that he felt more intelligent. Maybe not in the stat wise, but just in general felt more intelligent. Does the effect increase or decrease? I'm going to say it's likely 5 and above. Yes, he is noticing more and more this scroll feeling more and more powerful as he holds it. No. Okay, so he's not noticing any other effects from the scroll currently from where he stands. So now what we want to do is very quickly, being that we only have 1 of 10 hit points, I'm thinking that the best thing to do would be to take a small rest. We would like to find an area somewhere around here perhaps that we could find that would allow us to rest safely away from getting hurt possibly. So let's go ahead and go back to our tool and see if that's a possibility. Alright, so how likely is it that somewhere around here we could kind of rest up? It's the Underdark. I'm gonna say that, but he's familiar with the Underdark, he's from the Underdark, so I'm gonna say it's probably likely that Valzen will be able to rest, short rest, undisturbed. He was. Valzen did get to rest, a short rest, undisturbed, somewhere off to the side of this area. So we're going to go ahead and short rest Valzen. Okay. So we got, what was it, 1d8? Okay, puts us back up at 9. Excellent. So we're feeling a little better for the wear at this point. Okay. Now that we have the scroll, we've pocketed the scroll. I guess the next question is we need to get back. How close until we get back? Are we far from where Bayana currently is? I would assume not. I'm thinking it's very unlikely, or it's very likely that almost certain that we're close. We are. Okay. So we know that we're close by. How many days travel perhaps are we? Are we a few days travel or just a little bit of a travel? Can we make the trek in a day? Again, I'm going to think it's almost certain. No, we can't make the trek in a day. Can we make the trek in less than 5 days? Likely. Yes. Yes. But the way, so we have a qualifier of but. Something the PCs think to be one way is another. So yes, we need to get back home. It's less than 5 days. But the way we were gonna go, perhaps something happened. Which we'll find out shortly. Okay? So now we are gonna pocket this item and we are going to go ahead and travel just one day, and I'm just going to roll on our kind of like a exploration and see as we travel one day if something occurs. So let's see here. Let's see here. Nope. No terrain encounter, no creature encounter. We look to be okay for our first day travel. And normally I would have a hex map prepared, but I don't have one now, so we'll have one for the next time. We'll have a hex map ready for us. I'm not doing orientation rolls for him either because he knows where he's at in the sense of where he's going. So we're gonna go ahead and go there. So let's go ahead and move to the next. Day 2. Well, should we fully rest for the evening? No, I think we can take one more. We did travel for, I don't know if I have food. Do we have food on him? Let's take a look and see. Do we have food on you, Valzen? Hoping we have some rations on you. Secure. You would have assumed that he had some rations. Doesn't look like it. Okay, so let's try and do a survival roll to see if we are able to get anything. So we're going to do a d20 roll. 12. Greater than 12 means we managed to find something to eat. We don't. Okay, so we went a day. We didn't pack any food with us, which we should have. I thought we would have, but we did not. So we're just going to go ahead and move on. So let's go ahead and move to the next day's travel. Does anything occur here? No. Nothing occurs here. So again, now we've traveled 2 days. Do we have the ability to find out if we can get some food? We literally have nothing at the moment, which is not good. So let's go ahead and roll again. 12 or greater. Awesome. We managed to roll that. Let's do D4 rations. 1 ration. Valzen gets that 1 ration that he finds, and just well, he forages, let's say, for some fungi, and manages, being that he knows the Underdark, he's from the Underdark, he manages to find that ration. I'm not going to even add it to the inventory because he consumes it. And as he consumes it, his belly's full. And at this point, I think he's going to set up and make camp for the evening. And so the question is now, is he able to make camp and not get harmed? So let's see here if he does. All right. So we're going to find out, does Valzen manage to, he set up camp here, is he going to be able to sleep without interruption and not be interrupted from an encounter? So I'm going to say that it's likely that he's going to be able to fall asleep and not be interrupted by something. So let's go ahead and see. No, he gets interrupted. So he sets up camp, goes to, and doesn't succeed in setting up camp. And something else happens. An unexpected change in relationship between people involved in a situation. A character's mother is after their aunt. Character's mistaken for someone else, etc. So something occurs somewhere with a complication with someone. We'll say that Valzen is related to. Perhaps his wife. His wife who's back home. There's a complication with her that occurs. He doesn't know it yet, but we have a complication that has occurred with his wife, which is not good. And not only that, he was disturbed while he was sleeping. So now we have to find out what it was. So let's see here. Rolling on a D4. What CR are we fighting? That's a 2, so it's going to be a 1/4. And how many creatures is it? It's a troglodyte. So let's go ahead and get the troglodyte stats up for us. Okay. Let's go ahead and share that. All right. So he will be battling a troglodyte that tried to invade his area, and I probably spelled that wrong, so let me grab it in. Troglodyte. Troglodyte. There we go. Alright, so we said that we are going to give minions 1 HP. There's going to be 2 creatures for this encounter, so we have 2 troglodytes. Alright. Let's go ahead and roll initiative to see group. So I'm using group initiative. We're going to see which group goes first. Valzen gets a 15. Let's see what they roll, and we'll add a 1 to it since this is -1. They have a 17. Jeez. And let's see here. This says they get 3 attacks. 1 with its bite and 2 with its claws. Goodness gracious. Yeah, that's 1 on that. So we're going to have to reduce that a little bit because there's no way he's going to live through that. So we're going to give them just 1 attack each. Okay. So the first troglodyte goes to bite at Valzen. Actually, we'll roll both troglodytes at the same time. 17 and a 19. They both hit him. They both get a D4 plus 2. This is not looking good, Valzen. 3 damage. Let's see, they're both plus 2, so that's 4 and 3. It's 7. He's looking in trouble. Don't die. It's your first night out camping, man. Okay, so it's his turn to go up. Again, he gets those hands ready. His hands are glowing there. Gets that Eldritch Blast when he looks to blast. Let's see if he succeeds. He does. He rolls 1, blasts one of the troglodytes out, only having 2 HP left. The troglodyte seeing its friend die. Does the other troglodyte run? Is the other troglodyte likely to run watching his friend die? There are some, in a lot of solo games you have Yes, I did take an invocation at level Whistler. I went over that in my first video that I covered, that you are welcome to look at. I went over the character creation and have all of that covered. So feel free to take a look at that there. So let's see here. I forgot where I was. Okay, so it's the troglodyte's turn. We're going to find out if it's likely to run or not. So we're going to see if that happens here. Let's take a look and see. Going to the tool. I think it's likely that this creature is going to run, seeing its friend take off or die. Now the creature also does notice that Valzen is hurt pretty good. And yes, the creature does take off. We do see that it was a success, and the creature does take off and run. Valzen just looks and is like, geez. He kind of sighs at himself and knows that he very well could be in trouble here. So now, being that we know that has occurred, Valzen does manage to take his rest after that. Even though it was interrupted, he does manage to take his rest now. So we're going to go ahead and give him a long rest here. So let's go ahead and share that. Okay. Okay. So he's taken his long rest, woken up. While he was sleeping, I'm curious to know, this scroll, did he notice anything about the scroll? Did the scroll do anything on his being while he was sleeping? No, still nothing. He hasn't noticed anything special about it. So nothing has occurred so far with this scroll. He gets up. He makes his way. So we knew earlier that there was a complication in the path that he was trying to get to. What was something that that complication could have been? Let's take a look and see on our oracle tables if that could help us here. So we're looking for something that has to do with a action and theme. So let's go ahead and roll. We're going to look and see what our action and theme is for what we're going to get. Okay. D100. We have 15. The action is breach. And 82. Breach what? Breach a stranger. So perhaps on the way, a stranger blocks the road by breaching some of maybe the cave surroundings and just destroys the path that Valzen planned on taking. So Valzen knows now that he can't take the way he wanted to take. Certainly is a complication. Now that he knows he can't take this way, he's concerned. He's concerned because something's happening that normally is way out of the norm. And he doesn't know how this occurred, but he gets a bad feeling from it. Now he's going to have to deviate from where he was. What is the deviation that is going to be? What's going to occur? Let's see. Is it likely that this is going to add to his distance, or is he have the same? So I think it's likely that this will add to his distance. No, it's not going to. No, and something that PCs think one way is actually another. So not only is it not a long way, this actually may have helped him get home sooner. And we're thinking that perhaps Valzen finds a way around the rocks and or this breach, this cave breach, whatever, this breach that occurred. Perhaps he can get around it. He looks around and kind of sees, balances himself and says, I can do this. And you can see him kind of find his way. He's not very athletic. I think. Let's take a look and see. I don't think he's very athletic. What are his athletics? Yeah, -2. So he's not very athletic. But somehow he manages to get around these things. Yeah, I mean, luckily we're not relying on the check for this one. Perhaps he manages to get through and makes his way around this, being that the augur tells us that we managed to get around it and get home faster than we thought we would. So we're going to do one more day's travel and see what occurs on the last day's travel as he makes his way home. And again, nothing occurs, so we are okay as we make our way into town. The town he lives in, what is the town he lives in's name? So we're going to go ahead and generate that now. And the town he lives in is called Valzen Kalaza. So we're gonna go. I definitely gonna have to write that down. Let's see here. Valzen Kalaza. Okay, so this just some settlement descriptions that we know. It is rich houses built on rock and stone, and the town is rich, which makes sense with the rich house, right? So town is rich, house is built on stone and rock. This town is ruled by an elder, most likely a matriarch, since it's a drow society. The settlement problems, they're having problems with curses here in Valzen Kalaza. But what's currently going on right now? How could Valzen slip in easily? There is a wedding going on. And the townsfolk seem to be celebrating the wedding of a local figure. Who could it be? I don't know if Valzen really cares at this point. Something odd about this town. Everybody's due inside their house before dusk. To avoid a horror they refuse to name. Perhaps that could be the cause of the curse. Perhaps that could be why Bayana sent Valzen in the first place. And we already know that the organizations here that Valzen works for is the League of Ardent Defense, and the House Kalarn. So Valzen getting back into town, but right on the outskirts of town, knows there's a wedding going on and can hear it. And he takes one last look at the scroll before he gets in. And he was told not to open it. But he wants to. I'm feeling this pull to want to open this. Because I want to know. But what I'm going to do is let the augur determine and tell us if we actually get it open or not. So, is it likely that we pull this thing out? Will it even open for us? Maybe there's some kind of magic bound to it. How likely is it that this is bound to happen? He wants to open it. Is he likely to open it? Yes, but a new character is revealed. Reinforcements appear. The gang leader was actually just a pawn working for a merchant, etc. So yes, he does open this, but reinforcements appear. So maybe when he opens the scroll, something comes out that he was told not to open. So he opens the scroll. Something comes out. What comes out? I don't know. Let's see. Let's find a descriptor. Alright, let's roll our D100 and see. What comes out? What could come out? Don't know. Alright. 19. Colossal. Colossal what? A colossal fleet. Colossal fleet. He opens the scroll and sees colossal fleet. Let me try that focus. Colossal 43. Home. He opens the scroll and sees his home. And behind his home he sees a colossal what? A colossal demon. He opens the scroll, and as he opens the scroll, his eyes get flooded. He sees his home. He sees not only his home, he sees a demon, and he's confused. He doesn't know what he's seeing. Is the demon going on a rampage? I'm curious. Would the demon be going on a rampage? I'm going to say that it's equal. The demon is going on a rampage. Is he destroying his home? Yes. Does he hear voices coming from... Is the demon talking to him? No. Is the demon talking to someone else? Yes. Can Valzen make out who the demon's talking to? Is it a drow? It is a drow. Is it someone he knows? No. Someone he doesn't know. Is what he's seeing in the future to come? Or is it... Does he know if this is now or in the future? Yes, and something the PCs think there'll be one way is another. Yes, so he does believe it's bound to happen. Bound to happen. Does this scroll help tell the future? I think this is very likely. Yes, but... Yes, this scroll helps see the future. Helps see the future. But something they think is one way is actually another. So it is the future. But who is the drow? Who is the drow behind this colossal demon? Valzen, seeing this, closes the scroll and is so troubled. He wonders why did Bayana tell him not to open this? What does she know about it? He's confused because he's been helping Bayana this whole time. She's telling him to do this, telling him to do that. He's really confused about why in the first place she would send him, telling him not to open it. He opens it and sees this vision, sees this vision of his home, their city, a colossal demon, his home getting destroyed. Seeing a drought looks like control the demon, who he doesn't recognize. And now he's questioning, should he bring this scroll to Bayana? Thinking about it more, Valzen knows he needs to get home right away. He needs to grab his wife and kids, and he needs to get up out of there. He knows that's the first thing he would think is something's about to happen. He doesn't know how far into the future is it. Being he doesn't know how far into the future this is, this could happen tomorrow. He doesn't know. He needs to get to his wife. Clearly, the person in town sent that spy after him, which we know because he found some information there as he was leaving that said Zeron Kolarn from House Kolarn thinks Valzen is also is trying to conspire against him, even though he's a member of the council. And that spy's not returning. So I guess for next time, here are questions that we will have to discover. First question, number 1, which we're going to resume. We'll resume in episode 2. Number 1. What are the consequences of Valzen killing Kolarn's spy? Number 2. He needs to get home and find his wife and kids. Number 3. Alright, so number 3. Who is, I guess, what is the vision we saw, or when is a vision we saw happening? So, what kind of consequences, what are the consequences of Valzen killing Kolarn's spy? He needs to get home and find his wife. When is the vision we saw happening? Why did Bayana tell him not to read the scroll? And will he return it? We don't know. Who's the drow? Who's the drow? In the vision. All loopholes we're gonna have to find out in our next episode, episode 2 of this playthrough of the solo D&D 5th edition 2024. I'm labeling this the, I think, Web of Fractured Lies. So we will resume. I'm going to try and do this every Sunday around 6 and try and do about an hour to 2 hours worth of gameplay. Thank you so much for watching Delve or Die. I hope that you enjoyed it. Please leave me feedback in the comments. Try not to be too harsh. Give me constructive criticism as to a way I can make this game flow a little better, so that way I can provide entertainment to you all as well as entertain myself, and we can have fun as we walk along in this solo run that I plan on doing. And hopefully, with more likes and comments and subscriptions, we'll get more interactions that could help, so that as the story goes, the live chat could also help me influence some of the things that I do rather than roll. And get comments that help at the spur of the moment that could help drive the narrative of the game. So again, thank you so much. Don't forget to like. Please subscribe to my channel if you're watching, and then also comment, again, leaving constructive feedback for me so that I can help make a better game and something that we all enjoy. So thank you so much. Have a good one. I hope you have a great week ahead, and talk to you soon.